Hey, my name is Ruru, and this is the Record of the Rainbow Witch. Um, I started this channel so that way I could connect with other witches and find community, learn from people, um, and notate the things that I've been doing and learning to keep a record of it. I am a queer person, um, trans. I use he, him pronouns, they, them pronouns, and yeah, um, I guess another reason is to show up in the world because social media wise, like, I'm not the best about showing up, and I feel like with the way things are in the world, trans people, non binary people, even though it's kind of dangerous, should be here and be able to take up space. I've been practicing magic since December 2023. Um, Unofficially throughout my whole life without really knowing. Um, but yeah, there's so much to learn and there's so much to do and there's so much to explore. And I want to share that here in this space. So, if I fail, then I would want to post that. If I succeed on doing stuff, post that. And what I've done through my journey, I've been learning a lot online and have been reading a lot. So that's been fun. Yeah. History wise, I grew up in a Catholic household, as many people in the US do. And yeah, being the queer person that I was then, um, as back then, uh, as a lesbian, it was something that was looked down upon in my community and in the church and in some instances in my family. Um, there was a lot of back and forth, and when I turned 18, I stopped going to church, and yeah, my curiosity led me to a lot of different places. Um, I've been interested in the occult and in other religions and self help and self care since I was a kid. Um, because, when you're a queer kid growing up, when you don't have any role models, like, you look for things to help you better understand yourself. And oftentimes, I would find myself at the library. I mean, my mom was a big advocate of reading, so we would be there often, anyways. But yeah, then I would look up books about religions and about queerness and about everything that I was interested in. And so that's where it began. My aunt was kind of witchy, and so a lot of the stuff that I do today, um, I thank her for, because she opened my eyes and opened my mind and my heart to this practice. It would be things like, you know, on the weekends, she would come over every weekend and she would bring her tarot cards or her astrology chart or your natal chart. And we look up our natal charts and we look up the things that are there that tell you about your life and different things about you. On Saturdays, for a long time, well, a few years, like, I think, we'd all sit around my mom's table, and we do card readings for each other. And yeah, something that I always took with me. I still read tarot cards to this day. I'm not someone who's intuitive about it, though. I feel like I always need a book, but it has helped me through a lot of different situations. Um, outside of Christianity, I explored Buddhism, um, Mahayana. I've explored Zen, Nichiren Buddhism, and Nichiren Buddhism is so interesting in the way that it works, because that's where you learn about chanting and mantras, setting intentions, and really focusing your energy towards a specific thing, which I find in my practice helps me a ton. Having that experience, being able to focus your intention and use your vocals and energy to kind of like set things in motion, it's something that's so necessary in magic. And I'm so thankful to have had that experience and that practice. Um, I left it again because of queerness and acceptance. Because, although like I sound like I do now, um, I was part of that when I wasn't on testosterone. And though I was passing in the world, um, it was one of those things where, like, even though I expressed myself, it wasn't seen. But I'm not saying that it's not like that everywhere, because I'm sure there are places that are open and accepting. It's just where I am in Florida, because I'm a Florida witch right now. Um, it's just such a weird state that's just very conservative overall. And although queer people do live here, it's very much old school. But then again, this is the place where everyone comes to die, anyways. um, yeah, no, there's a lot that I've learned here. Um, and so, yeah, I am at this point. December, I kind of was telling my mom about queerness and acceptance, and to be completely honest, it's been 3, 4 years since well, maybe longer, since I've been out to them. Um, but I got into it because my dad, being homophobic and transphobic and just inflexible in his thinking, and I told her that I wanted to put space there, and we got into it, and it was around Yule time, and I put space between us, and I went on a walk that day after breaking down, and something in nature is just reaching out to nurture me. I was crying, it was raining, and um, there is something in nature during that walk that was just calming. Told me that I would be alright, and that I should do more outside. So I started to. And gardening, learning about my local plants in the area, doing things like that. Um, really being connected to nature was the start of my practice. Um, so witchcraft for me has been a healing journey. Um, I've never felt more myself and more in control of my life, even though, there's things in life that you can't control, but like in that perspective where you learn that, inner peace with things that can't change and things that can, like what you have control of, and the way that your mind is. Psychologically, witchcraft has helped me become a more confident person about my way of going about things. And it's been just healing in discovering new sides of myself, sides that have always been there and that have been afraid to come out, you know? Yeah. I also kind of want to talk about paranormal experiences. I don't get to do that often, but it's really fun when I do. Um, I have been having experiences like paranormal shit my entire life. I'm very psyche sensitive. Um, and yeah, in learning and exploring different religions, different sects of witchcraft, and different practices, there are so many more things that make sense. Like the astral planes, or like just the difference in reality, like the magic versus the mundane, the spiritual world, how that works. It's all just been a really a really great defining moment for me. I've always been able to see ghosts. I have had experiences with aliens, like things that I can't explain in a lot of my life. And coming to a place where you can look beyond the veil and like find out different things that have always been around. Also, being a trans person and like being a queer person, it just fits so well because when you look into older religions, like we've always been around and we've always been there and we've always been a part of societies. It's just everybody that feels like this is such a new thing because of the way that it's brought up in media fails to see the history where we are. I mean, like we're kind of washed out of history, and that's something that I'm passionate about: queer history and all of the aspects of queer history and where we fit in ancient Egypt and where we fit in the 1800s to people that fought in the war who presented a different way to the journey of our liberation throughout the world. What I've come to realize is like queer liberation, like so heavily rooted in the US, and everybody looks at Stonewall because there were riots happening there, but it wasn't just here. Stonewall, like queer riots happened around the world at the same time. It was like a global phenomenon. And although there are places that still need to be liberated, and although there's still places where you can be killed for being queer, to be out and upfront and open and exactly who you are is so freeing. Just like coming out as a witch and being open about your magical practice and being open as a trans person, being open about my sexuality. Like when you're able to just completely show yourself to the world, there's no better feeling than that. There's just no better feeling than that. And it's just been a completely like wonderfully freeing place. Although every space has, things that are dangerous about it. And although there's different kinds of controversy in the world about so many different topics, like the more we know, the more we unravel, the more we understand, like the less scary things become. Like the more you're able to see things as they are. And like we need more of that in the world, you know? More truth and knowledge. It's so important. And I guess that's why I'm here. Just another journal of a life. My own experience. Because at the end of the day, like, it's my legacy. You know? So maybe sometime in my life, after I'm gone, if YouTube is still a thing, then somebody can look back at this and know that they're not alone. Whether that be in witchcraft or in queer spaces or just in general as a person. I think that's why I'm doing this. And it makes sense. I've been running away for a very long time. And I don't know why I waited till this point to do this. But 2024 is the year. And I'm glad to be doing it now more than ever. So yeah. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to me ramble and rant and just kind of go off on a tangent. I appreciate you for sticking around, and thank you for joining me. Adios.